And as mentioned, the first pillar to creating a solid financial plan for yourself is getting on top of a budget. So, how many of you are huge fans of budgets? How many of you have a budget in place? How many of you are on top of checking your budget? I would love to know if you can share in the comments. I usually get mixed reviews about budgeting. Some people love it, some people hate it. So definitely tell me what your thoughts about budgeting are. But somebody says, I need one. Someone says, love budgets. Um, I love budgeting. I love that. That is great. And it's okay if you need a budget. And someone else said, I need a budget. So let's talk about budgeting. Um, Someone else said, my fiance and I have a budget in place and have for a while. And we're now in a place to finally be able to buy a house. Congratulations. I've been doing a budget for about 15 years. We have one, but don't stick to it very well. And someone else says I need a better one. So yes, lots of comments around budgeting. So let's talk about it. So first of all, you need a budget to achieve financial wellness. Your budget essentially allows you to determine how much money you have available to spend and how much money you have to save. It's just your big picture of your finances. It helps you understand what your income is and what your expenses are. And it keeps you on track to spend less than you earn. The key to having a budget is you as the boss of your money. You are the boss here, right? You are telling your money what to do and where to go. So imagine you are the CEO of a company, and in your company, you have different departments, right? You have your employees are your dollars, by the way, and you have a department for paying off debt. So those employees go off and do their debt repayments. You have employees that are focused on investing. Those dollars are busy working for you in the stock market and real estate. You have employees that are focused on planning fun times, right? They're planning your vacations, they're getting excited, they're gathering themselves so that you can spend money on that great trip. And so when you think about any company, right? You want to know what each of your departments are doing, because otherwise what happens is that all your employees will come to work, they will hang out in the break room, they will come in late, they will leave early, and somehow you will find those employees just slipping through your fingers and you're not able to achieve any of your goals as a CEO of that business. So that's how it is with your finances. You're the boss here. You are telling your money what to do. And the key is to spend less than what you earn. So there is your income and then there is your expenses. And you want to create a gap between your income and expenses. And between that gap, in that gap between your income and expenses, that's where you have money to live life, to have fun, right? So, again, think about your budget as you telling your money what to do, and call it something fun. There is no rule that says your budget needs to be called a budget. It can be called because I'm so fabulous. This is my money plan. Get to the heck out of debt plan. My fabulous life plan. Call it whatever you want to call it. Call it something fun. Call it something that doesn't make you feel stressed out about having to look at the budget if you don't like budgeting. So if you guys have any names for your budgets, I'd love for you to share in the comments. I see a lot of discussion about budgets. This is great. So you guys have different opinions about budgets, but I think you all know that it's really, really important to have a budget in place. But tell me, what would you name your budget? So when it comes to budgeting, it's all about categorization, and there are different ways to budget. But I'm going to talk about, a general concept so that you can think about how you can make it work for you. So your budget can be broken out into four main categories. That's how I like to break it out. Number one, saving for your long term and emergency. So, long term would be retirement, any goals that you have that are 10 years and beyond. So, that long term would include contributing to an IRA, to a 401k, to brokerage accounts, etc. And it will also include saving for retirements. Um, I'm sorry, it also includes saving for emergencies. These are unplanned life expenses that just happen because life is unpredictable, right? So that would be, let's say, 20%. Then the second category would be saving for your essentials and your needs. This is your must have. This is paying for a safe place to live, for transportation, for food, for your core utilities, for your medicines. So about 50% in this example. Number three would be other savings and investments. So let's say you're saving for a sinking fund because you need to replace the roof of your house, or you want to buy a new car, or you want to take your family on vacation, or you want to move to a new city, or you want to start a business. It will go into this category of 15%. And then number four would be the final category, which would have everything else. And that would be the final 15%. And this would be, going out to eat, shopping, doing fun stuff. So this is a general categorization of a budget. But then you want to look at it in terms of what are your own individual goals? What are the things that you are trying to accomplish? So let's say, for example, you have debt you're trying to pay off. Then this category three of other savings and investments might then be instead called debt repayment, right? And you would focus on saving that, sending that 15% towards your debt. It could be that you really aggressively want to get out of debt. So you might decide that, okay, category three is going to be my debt category, but I'm going to reduce category two from 50% to 40%, so I can move that extra 10% to my debt category, so I can put 25% of my income towards debt. So the whole idea is shuffling these percentages around to make sure that you're still able to achieve your goals. I will say you want to try as best as possible to keep category one, your long-term and emergency savings, as intact as possible to that 20%, right? And I would say no less than 10% because you need to be saving for your future self. You need to be investing for your future self, and you need to be bulking up your emergency savings if you don't have one. And even if you do have one, given the uncertainty of everything going on, it's not a bad idea to save a little bit more. So this is a general gauge of, okay, these are the categories I want to have, and these will then become line items in your budget. Each of these categories with the specifics built under each of the line items. But this is a general idea of how you can categorize your budget. Okay, so tips for success with your budget. Number one, you want to include your income in your budget. And this is not just income from your job, side hustle income. If you do a clear of your closet, of your wardrobe one weekend, and you sell stuff on eBay or Poshmark or Facebook Marketplace, for that month, include that income. You also want to know what your expenses are and be able to differentiate between your income and expenses in your budget. So if you have a simple spreadsheet, for example, you also want to monitor your spending patterns. So pay attention to how you're spending money. I always tell people who struggle with budgeting that it's not a bad idea if for a week or for a month that you get a spending journal and you write down exactly how much money you're spending. And not just that, also document how you're feeling, right? How you felt when you spent that money. Was there a trigger, a location, a smell, a person that caused you to spend that money? You want to pay attention to that. And then at the end of that week, the end of those 30 days, go over that spending journal and say, okay, where are opportunities here? Where do I see opportunities to improve? As you're budgeting, do weekly and monthly comparisons. Like, how did I do with my budget this month compared to last month? Are there any areas where I can cut my expenses and readjust my budget? And then you want to set specific goals and dates around those specific goals that you're budgeting for. So let's say one of your goals is to save a $10,000 emergency fund, right, in the next 12 months. You take that $10,000 divided by 12 months, you know that you need to save $833 a month. You take that $833, you build it into your budget, and you have that December timeline. That way you know that, okay, I'm saving this money every single month for the next 12 months so I can get to my emergency savings goal. The other thing when it comes to budgeting is to remember that the right type of budget, the best kind of budget, is the one that works for you. You will hear all sorts of ideas about different types of budgeting. Oh, reverse budgeting is the best. Zero-based budgeting is the best. Percentage-based budgeting is the best. Use Mint budgeting app. Use the You Need a Budget budgeting app. Oh, a spreadsheet is the best. The best budget is the one that works for you because you have to actually use it, right? You have to actually be motivated to open up that budget. So for me, I love using a spreadsheet, right? And I love writing things down. So I budget with a spreadsheet and with the notes app on my phone. For somebody else, they may love to use an app from their smartphone. For somebody else, they may like to use an app and a spreadsheet hybrid. So I always tell people who are not sure of a budgeting method, get your smartphone out, go to the App Store, download the 5 top reviewed budgeting apps, and then go through them. You may like one because it connects to your bank accounts easily. You may not like one because you just don't like the colors. Even small things like that can be a game changer when it comes to do you or do you not actually open that app to check on your budget. So It's all about finding a budgeting method that works for you. And on clevergirlfinance.com, we have a bunch of articles on our blog about the different ways to budget, because there are so many ways to budget that you can definitely spend some time checking out. But you need to test it out to determine what's going to work best for you. You don't like a certain budgeting approach, 1 month, you try it out, move on to the next one, right? So it's about finding what works for you. So during times of uncertainty, it's really important that you prioritize your core essentials in terms of spending money. And when it comes to core essentials, I'm talking about rent, transportation, food, any medicines, your core utilities. Basically, these are the things that you need to survive. These are the things that should be prioritized. You want to have a line item in your budget to save for emergencies. We're going to talk about emergency savings next. And if you feel like, okay, I need to be saving more money, I'm worried about income right now, I'm worried about job security in my household, this is a good time to take a pause on non-essential spending, right? Maybe we eat out less. Maybe, I don't go to the nail salon as much. Maybe, we do things differently, so I can start to put more money towards my savings, so I can build a bit of that confidence in the event that financial confidence in the event that something happens, like a job loss, or, you know, who knows what may happen in an economy like this. But you want to have that cash available, that way you don't have to tap into your investments and don't have to rely on leveraging debt. So somebody asked, what are some good budgeting apps to use? So a lot of people love Mint. It's super popular. There is Personal Capital. There is You Need a Budget. There is Every Dollar. Those are examples of really popular, well-reviewed apps. But on your smartphone, for Apple, for Android, I would say go and look for the 5-star ones and then download them, because people love Mint, but I personally don't like it. I just don't like the layout of the interface for some reason. So try out the different apps to see what works for you. Someone said, what category do adult kids fall into? They fall into the category of they can also go out and work and contribute to the household expenses. They said asking for a friend. Someone else said, I love a good spreadsheet, but I like to work out my budgets on paper. I really like to try out a good app to help and use the available tech. So yes, you like that hybrid of spreadsheet, paper, and then leveraging an app. Um, get a job category regarding adult kids. Okay, so, any additional questions about budget so far? Keep in mind that at the end of the session, I'm going to be taking your questions. So, yeah, if you have additional questions, just share them. If you have additional comments, I'm loving the comments in the comment sections. You guys are a lot of fun, and I appreciate you sharing.